The Health and Human Services Secretary set to meet today with executives from the very food companies he accuses of making Americans sick. Here's what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. told HHS staffers a few weeks ago after being sworn in.
So we will convene representatives of all viewpoints to study the causes for the drastic rise in chronic disease. Some of the possible factors we will investigate were formerly taboo or insufficiently scrutinized.
Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve. So Bobby Kennedy Jr. is meeting with leaders of food companies to address the unprecedented health crisis in America, fueled by an alarming prevalence of unhealthy food choices that contribute significantly to the epidemic of obesity, diabetes, and chronic disease. Now, major food companies are profiting off of processed products laden with harmful ingredients, all the while public health continues to deteriorate at an astonishing rate. So, who's responsible for this catastrophe? Well, it's large food corporations that maximize profits through deceptive practices, disinformation, and manufacturing food with unhealthy ingredients. They maintain a denial of the negative consequences their products have on our health, all the while continuing to flood the market with food options filled with chemicals and additives that cause more harm than good. As we watch the trajectory of health in this nation plummet, it's evident that the need for change is critical, which is why Bobby Kennedy was so popular as Trump's HHS nominee. Here to shed light on this dire situation is one of my health heroes, Joey Atlas, a passionate advocate for better health practices. He's not only bringing awareness to the issue, but also recommends actionable, tangible solutions through fantastic health supplements that many of you in our audience, I know, have already discovered and are benefiting from. Joey, great to see you as always.
Great to be here, Brother Steve.
And I'm going to raise my glass to you, my friend.
I finished mine already.
I saw you looking for yours.
It's gone.
If you guys know, we'll be talking about this later, but this is Joey's Elixir Mixer. I take it every day and I love it. I was just telling Joey, I've got a bunch of interviews today. You know, they can get kind of long, so I'm sipping my Elixir Mixer. I feel great. If you don't mind, I would like a...
Please enjoy.
Oh, I love it. This is so good. I love the texture. You know what it is? I think my wife is Japanese, and she has a green tea powder that she makes. So it's not like hard tea leaves. It's a very powdery thing. And then when she crushes it and we sip it, that's what the texture reminds me. That softness, that silkiness. It's so good, Joey. Thank you for putting this together. You're on the front lines of this fight for better health practices. You've been for decades.
Yes.
What's really going on behind the scenes, in your view, with Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s meetings with food company leaders? And if you would, how are they responding to the push for accountability?
Right. Great question. So behind the scenes, you have several different parties all coming together to discuss the topics at hand for change. The focus is change, right? Positive change. The problem is the food industry side, there's a lot they would have to change that would not only cost them a lot of money, but it would have a ripple effect through supply chains, logistics, you name it, inside the laboratory, the food laboratories, where they would have to reformulate their ingredient recipes and the recipes as a whole. So it's going to be a fight for a long time. Okay. So nothing's going to change overnight. We might see a quick banning here and there of a certain ingredient or two. But relatively speaking, most of the change is going to take time. Now, that doesn't mean we can't be informed sooner and make the changes ourselves before any actual banning or changing happens, right? So you're going to have, lobbyists of these companies pushing back from the start. They know eventually they're going to have to change a lot of what is included in the food supply. But they also know they can drag it out so long where they can still maximize profits along the way because they can fight and delay and drag their feet.
Like the cigarette companies of old.
Absolutely. It's going to
Yeah.
unfold the same way. And maybe even take a bit longer
Mm-hmm.
for substantial change. But it will happen, right? The thing
Yeah.
is, can we sit there and just wait as the population, or are we going to be proactive about making the changes
Right.
ourselves
Right.
by being informed first? Right.
Right.
So behind the scenes, it's going to be tug of war. It's going to be a tug of war the whole way, but the positive changes will come, I believe, at least by the end of the 4 years Kennedy has that seat position.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Listening to you, it makes me realize that Bobby Kennedy is the Doge for like the Food and Drug Administration,
Yes,
right? I mean, or
absolutely.
or just a big food and big ag and the like. Yeah,
Right.
he's Doge. He's coming in and he's like, you guys, we're cleaning up here. You're gonna have to change everything. Oh, it's how,
Absolutely.
in your view, Joey, how much of this epidemic of obesity and chronic disease that Bobby Kennedy's been talking about has been foregrounding for us? How much of it can we actually pin on these sort of deceptive practices and harmful ingredients of the big food corporations?
Well, I would say a lot of it. Now, of course, people are going to say, well, as an individual, you should be smart enough to have chosen better, and you should have known what you were eating or drinking and not kept doing it. It's easy to say that. However,
Right.
like we spoke about in the past, there's an element of trust that
Yes.
we as humans inherently we want to have it with our companies that are feeding us and caring for us and nourishing us. We inherently want to have that trust. We want to offer that trust because we want to believe that our own companies that we pay to supply our homes with food, we would
Hmm.
trust that they're giving us good stuff, healthy stuff, not things that are going to cause disease, premature aging,
Right.
cancer,
Right.
dementia,
Of
you
course.
name it. Right. And so that's the first side of the equation. The other side of the equation is if these companies have, let's just say, our in general, the public's trust, we would like for them to not take advantage of that trust and actually give us
Right.
good foods, good nutrients,
Right.
good meals,
Right.
good items that are going to benefit us and not slowly kill us. Now,
Right.
the problem is they haven't done that. Generally speaking, the big mega conglomerates that are, buying this stuff at commodity levels to create foods at the lowest cost possible with enough
Mhm.
margin built in there so that the volume of their sales makes them lots and lots and lots of money continuously,
Right.
right?
Right.
So when we look at, if you take any mass market food and you just go take an honest look at the ingredients label,
Mhm.
right? And I'm saying this to the person who's viewing with us, listening with us right now. Take an honest look at that ingredient label. And if you think all that stuff you're looking at is good for you, I'll
Right.
tell you right now, it's not. Those
Right.
are the insidiously delivered ingredients that slowly tear down our bodies and brains ability to keep a strong, healthy, immune, and able to fight disease, not open ourselves up to premature disease. Right? So you're talking about, there's dough conditioners in breads and various baked goods. You've got synthetic preservatives like BHA, BHT, TBHQ. You've got hydrogenated fats, which they're still in the mix despite the years of talking about all this stuff. Nothing's actually been done. And you have all your artificial sweeteners, the chemical sweeteners, aspartame, sucralose, NutraSweet, acesulfame potassium. there are so many different types of ingredients. We didn't even touch on the flavor enhancers
Right.
and the MSG and the sorbates and the nitrates. There are a lot of them. And in order for packaged foods to be shelf stable for a long
Mhm.
time and taste good, taste so good that it makes that person or people not only want more in the same sitting, but they want more very soon after, like an hour or two later, they're ready to eat more of the standard American diet foods,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
right?
so
So
true.
it's an insidious trap
Yeah.
where you think, well, not only are people eating the wrong things, but they're eating way too much of the wrong things because of the addictive nature is programmed. Like
Right.
we can literally go on YouTube and search food scientists discussing food addiction recipes. They're
Wow.
food
Wow.
scientists who were hired by these companies. Their job is make this food more addictive.
Right.
And they
Right.
openly talk about this. They couldn't deal with what they've done. The only solution for them to have a clean conscience is to come out and publicly talk about it to maybe save people by educating people and letting us know what most people either don't want to know or either couldn't believe unless they heard it from the horse's mouth.
I'm just curious. I mean, the way you were describing all those chemicals and for shelf life, it almost sounded like, kind of, formaldehyde for food or something, I mean,
Yes.
it's just, that's basically what it is, right? That this mummification process for food or something. I don't
Yes.
know. But I mean, how do you think these food giants were allowed to get away with flooding the market with so much processed junk for so long, especially even like Bobby constantly talks about how many chemicals that
Mm,
are in our food that are banned, for example, in Europe.
right.
How are they able to do that despite the obvious damage to Americans' health? Where's the oversight in all of this?
Yeah, this is a great question. So if we look to Europe's standards for food ingredients, food production, food distribution, you know, the equation right now, the balance is looking like 400 allowable ingredients in Europe. So maybe it's 500, maybe it's 370, I don't know, but it's in the 400 range, right? Whereas over here in the States, the supposed number is 10,000 ingredients. All right. Now, maybe we do have a larger assortment of good ones. However, the majority of those fall under the categories of questionable ingredients that are responsible for the deterioration of the health of our country, the entire population, ranging from young, you get kids that are suffering from all kinds of diseases and uh, syndromes that we didn't have
Yeah.
30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But
But dude,
now,
dude, dude, that's a buried lead right there. 400 ingredients versus 10,000. I mean, my oh my. I mean,
yes.
whoa, that's
So,
crazy.
so what went wrong where? Okay. So in the early days of the development of this country, most of it was like Europe because people
Yeah.
lived off the land and there's not much processing, Trojan horsing, chemicalizing the foods when you're living off the land, which were the early days of this country. Now, we have the industrialization, the fast
Mhm.
growth of America, right?
Mhm.
60s, 70s,
Mhm.
80s,
Mhm.
lots and lots of fast growth in all areas of our culture. Families were developing. People were able to afford a lot more. Moms didn't want to do as much work. Kids are busy playing sports. Mom's got to run them around to sports while dad's working. So what happens? Oh my god, I don't have time to cook anymore. I don't have time to, properly food shop. So the fast food solution took over during those
Yeah.
decades, right? That means companies that had fast food solutions, not just fast food at say, your McDonald's or what have you, but fast food from the supermarket. Right? So you turn an hour and a half food shopping trip into maybe a 20-minute food
Yeah.
shop. You go and you're getting all your frozen TV dinners.
Yeah, I
You're
remember the
getting
TV dinner. Yeah,
your
yeah.
steakums with the nasty processed white bread. you name it, you're getting all that stuff, right? And now the food supply for the average family is all highly processed, packaged, frozen, microwavable, quick cook in the oven. You open up the foil and all of it's right there like magic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So all of this required high levels of processing to make that stuff easy to cook when you get home, because it couldn't be a big project. You either had to put it in the toaster oven for 20 minutes or put it in the microwave for 5 or 6 minutes, right?
Right.
But this required a lot of chemicalization, a lot of mass production to bring down the cost so that there was enough margin for these companies to sell this stuff in volume to now the highly chaotic, spread thin, average American family who only focused on, let's find out how to eat quickly, fast, easily, and as cheaply as possible.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
the important aspect of nourishing a family dropped way down the list of priorities in
Right.
the generations, late 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
The problem is now in 2025, we're seeing the serious effects of
Yep.
this self-destruction that has gone on in this country. And the companies were, to answer your question, the companies were allowed to get away with it because the burden of proof was, it wasn't as easy as, well, prove to us, can
Right.
we prove to you that this ingredient is going to kill this person the day after they eat it?
Right. No.
Right. So it's like,
Right.
no, we're going to run whatever kind of test they did or whatever kind of approval process the FDA had to approve specific ingredients. The onus was on
Yeah. The accuser.
the
Yeah.
accuser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, and if the accuser, if they ask the accuser, well, we have people eating this stuff and they're not dying.
Right. Right.
They're not dying this week.
Right.
But in
Right.
30 years, they may get the cancer that kills them, or the Alzheimer's that takes them out of commission, or they may develop such severe bone osteoporosis from these ingredients sucking out their bone density that they have a fall and a hip fracture that leads to an early death, because lots of hip fractures in early elderly have been known to kill them after the hip fracture, because it's a hard recovery after that.
So in many respects, we're living in a time where we're getting now the sort of the critical mass of data, and it's
Yes.
finally all kind of coming in. And then we just needed someone, a very high profile person, to be able to champion that data.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, and just think about think about the divine moment. God, what's the saying? God draws straight lines with crooked sticks. The best voice that we have out there for health and for restoration is somebody who suffers from that condition. But it just, to me, it seems so beautiful. That's exactly what God would do, wouldn't he? With Moses and so forth. I will find somebody with a stutter or something like that to be the voice and show that the strength is not his; it belongs to God himself.
Absolutely.
So what hope do you see for the next generation? I mean, we've seen obesity skyrocketing. We've seen diabetes rates skyrocketing. What do you see, and what gives you hope for the next generation?
So a couple of things. Number one, my own personal experience. I was in one of those families I was just talking about. Like, my dad came from Sicily off the boat when he was a young teenager. My mom's parents came from Calabria off the boat. They met here in the States in Brooklyn. And we started living the quick-paced, schedule-full American family life, right? And so we go from the Italian style of slow food, slow eating, right? High quality from the earth. And we switched to this American style. And my parents and grandparents did the best they could to maintain some of that from the earth eating, all clean, grown in your own yard a lot of times.
The Italian food tradition is second to none. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So, but my mom had her hands full. Dad was working a lot. He was blessed to have a great job. Mom, had 3 kids in sports and activities. And so she was she fell victim to like, well, I got to go do all the fast stuff. It's the only way for me to keep up. Right. So, and I have a very addictive nature. Boy, I was eating all the preserved cakes and the cookies and, the breads and the TV dinners and the boxed chicken. And it was endless for me. And I really struggled as a kid. Like a lot of people think, oh, I was always in shape. I was the fat kid. I was Spanky. I mean, I had all the nicknames, Porky, Spanky. It was rough, but being in it and then eventually latching on to this healthy fitness lifestyle, thanks to my father, I realized what we feed our bodies has a huge impact on our ability to be fit, have energy, be healthy, keep body fat down and muscle tone up, muscle development up, right? And so I was a living experiment in my own world, right? So as I became a more cognizant teenager, I realized, well, I don't want to be this overweight kid. I don't want to be unhealthy either. I want more of this stuff that I'm feeling and seeing when I'm doing my fitness routine and I'm eating better properly, right? So as I became a late teenager, 16, 17, 18, I was able to do my own food shopping. My brother and I, we took the burden off my mom because we were both now into this fitness thing, but we realized we have to take control of the food situation. So in our late teens, we took responsibility of doing the food shopping so that it wasn't on my mom or my grandmother's hands anymore, right? So we were going to buy all the good stuff. And it made a definite, apparent impact. Like our body composition got better. We were getting stronger. Our sports performance was better in soccer and football and baseball across the board. And when we went for checkups to see the doctor before sports season, he's like, you guys must be doing good stuff this year because it's obviously showing in your weight, your body composition, and your blood pressure, vitals. Yes. And so fast forward into adulthood, I'm human just like everybody else. I had my challenging times, had tough times. My addictive nature would take me back into overeating, over drinking, not exercising enough. And sure enough, when I went back to the standard American way of eating, standard American diet, I would gain weight, I would lose muscle, I would get lethargic. My annual exams would go down the tubes, bad.
Yeah.
Like all the numbers would get worse, right? And so for me, still being this living experiment, I also knew that this is what happens to most people, right? They do good for a while, they eat properly, they're putting all the healthy stuff into their brain, belly, and body, and they're exercising properly, not improperly, and they're getting the good outcomes. Body changes, your brain recognizes everything you're doing, your fat starts to shed, your muscles start to develop tone, you get strength, you get stamina, you get energy. Right. And so living that reality and seeing the dynamics of how it affects other people as well really opened my eyes to how important it is that we are proactive in how we feed and nourish ourselves, both with foods and with all natural supplements.
Speaking of, so talk to us a bit about these fantastic health supplements that you've come up with, particularly the Elixir Mixer, which I've got here in front of me. I know many in our audience are already benefiting from them. How exactly do they work to counteract the damage caused by these chemical-laden food options? And what makes them a game changer in this fight?
Right. So number one, it's all food sourced. There are no synthetics in there. And a lot of mass market supplements, even cleverly marketed supplements with influencers pushing them, multiple high paid influencers, a lot of them are synthetic derivatives. All right, now, what's the difference? The difference is our bodies were divinely designed by our creator to only recognize food as what is supposed to nourish and rebuild this brain and body and all the systems within it, right? Skeletal system, neurological system, muscular system, organ system, lymphatic system, immune system. It has to all come from food-derived sources, right? And so that was one of the main requirements of formulating the 6-in-1 Elixir Mixer, is that all the ingredients had to be food-derived, zero synthetics allowed.
Awesome. 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 I love it. And it's so, so good.
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned when we spoke about this a few
I will
interviews
sip as you're
back.
chatting.
A lot of your audience who were first purchasers, we're getting a lot of great testimonials and positive reviews posted on the website from them, and it's a delight to see. I mean, I'm not surprised because we had a lot before them, but it's really good to see that feedback coming in from people who just started taking it through you a couple months ago,
Yeah.
and they're like, some people are saying I've reduced my supplement bill by $350 because I was able to cut out all these other junky, repetitive supplements.
Yeah.
And then you get a husband and wife couple, which through you, we've got a bunch. They slash their supplement bill by $600-700 because both of them get to revamp their supplement approach when they realize, okay, we're not supposed to be taking synthetics and we're not supposed to be taking 18 different supplements. It's just, we call that supplement overload syndrome, right? So the other part of the formula was to intentionally simplify the supplement routine of the average middle-aged person approaching their 40s into their 50s, 60s, and 70s. We got to simplify this, make it better, and have it save them money so they're not taking so much junk and wasting money on it.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing, Joey. I mean, again, I was telling you, we do Q&A at least twice a week, particularly with our Courageous Conservative Club members. And it's got to be like every week, every other week, I get questions about the elixir mix. Like, so how do you do it? Do you do it straight? Do you put the honey in it? How do you? And I'm just like, this is awesome. We're all getting healthy together, and you're doing amazing things. Bobby Kenny's doing amazing things. I love chatting with you guys who've been in the Maha movement before there was a Maha movement, before it became, I mean, because I could see it in your eyes. I mean, you guys, you've been waiting for this moment for so long to see our nation finally get healthy again. You've been voices in the wilderness crying. And here the golden age is upon us. So it's amazing stuff. It's amazing.
Thank you. So a couple things. Number one, if anybody's going to go and purchase it, there's a special discount to use. It's Steve17.
Okay.
In honor of Steve17. It's for an extra 17% off. Write it down. Steve17. The essence of the formulation, in growing up and experiencing everything I told you about and working with lots of clients one-on-one to help them revamp their entire nutrition approach and their supplement routine, a lot of us have done damage over the years. You heard my story. I did it when I was younger, some of it when I was older. The cool thing is, as we were designed divinely from our creator, our bodies and brains have these awesome abilities to heal.
Yeah.
Now, how does that happen? We have to give it the right raw materials to heal. So we can heal our brains. We can heal our hearts. We can heal our musculoskeletal systems. We can heal so many things, but we have to put the right raw materials inside of us to give our bodies the ability to heal, because the healing comes from the building blocks of the raw materials, right? And so the elixir mixer contains all those raw materials. And again, that was by intentional design. Yeah. What can go in here that is going to make us, feel good, have energy, sleep better, control our appetites so we don't want to eat as much, but actually provide building block material to help replace the bad cells that are dying off in our bodies, replace them with good, healthy, strong immune cells to now start having a higher immune system, more ability to prevent disease, age. Some people say age in reverse. And I'm one of those people. Like, I've got hair growing. Some people might say, well, he needs to cut his hair. I've got hair growing that I didn't have growing for years. And the only thing different are the food-based ingredients that are all part of the elixir mixer. Like, some people say, oh, maybe that's coincidence. Maybe it is. But we need better raw materials going in to get all the positive outcomes that we want. All right. And so that was part of the equation.
Well, absolutely love it, gang. Don't miss out. This is great. Just try it. Try it just like I did originally. And I think you're going to be hooked for life. You're going to absolutely love it. Hooked in a very good way, that's for sure.
Oh,
Make
yeah.
sure to click on that link below. It's Steve17 to save $17 off, I believe.
17%.
17% off, even better. 17% off. So make sure to click on that link below. We want to promote healthier living amid this overwhelming influence of harmful big food corporations. Your health matters. Maha matters. MAGA matters. We're putting it all together, gang. We're getting our country back by getting our health back. And Joey's been on the front lines for years helping us to do it. So click on that link below. Definitely check out this Elixir Mixer. I love it, and I think you're going to love it as well. Joey, thanks so much, brother. We'll talk to you very, very soon.
Thanks for having me, brother. Talk to you soon. Peace.